Hi, how you doing? Jeremy Kerr. Um, I had a little idea a couple of months ago, weeks ago, about doing surveys on the way out of classes and trying to figure out what students know after the class and any issues and problems they have. I suppose these are called exit tickets. They were the little post-it pads that we might hand out in class, and they might stick to the back of the door or someplace we ask them to. Um, Looking for the student voice, I suppose, an assessment for learning. So what I mean by assessment for learning is that we're asking questions about how their learning is going. So these online classes, I find it very tough for the students to actually give you feedback during class. If you ask, like, do you understand, you're pretty much open to an echo. I also Teams is okay, literally, but one of the biggest problems I have with it is that you're not able to put a thumbs up or a smiley face, or even say go slower, go faster, to convey how the material is going. And so I think I needed something else. So in order to do that, create some forms, some very easy forms, and I'll step through them in a moment. On how to create these exit tickets, just to find out about your students and how they're feeling in class, how they're feeling about the topics, whether they understand what you're teaching about them, and also what materials they have at home, and I'll try and hopefully get to those. So for using forms, if you're an MS Teams user, you'll find forms there. Google Apps for Education also have an app called Forms, which I often steer towards, but going both ways. Both are very similar, and both have differences. They're a bit subtle. You do both those websites work well. You could use SurveyMonkey. I've seen other people do that. It's not really for me. The likes of Kahoot, Quizlet, Quiz, I can't find where you can, like, I don't think this is like a gradable test. It's not for a load of material to go up. It's not to be shared. It's just for getting answers back. And so some of those answers are multiple choice, but some of those answers you really do need a text answer to be submitted. If you're in your office, you scroll along here, you should find your apps, except for you often won't, or I often don't find forms in here. I'm sure there's some way of getting forms in here. So I want to go into create and see documents, spreadsheets, etc. But down here you get to forms. This is giving you the created one. This is giving you one to create. I mean, it's a template for creation. That's fine. You need to click in forms here to go back to your old forms, and that'll be something that'll come up later. So these are all my forms that I've had a little look at. I want to change, and I want to have a little look at this one. So just before that, you can see that I've got a theme going on in the background. That comes from Teams. That's fine. So this is called student feedback form, and I just want to run through all the stuff. So one of the big things I would say is, the more required questions you put on your form, the drop off, it's inversely proportional. For more required questions, your submissions come way down, and that's because some of those questions are unanswerable. So I always tend to make the required question just the name. You could do this through assignments and try and get them to link it all in. You wouldn't put the name in. I think that's a little bit more awkward than this. Okay, so very simply, how do I put in these questions? So in this one, if I wanted the same question, I'm going to go add new, and I'm going to go text. I'll put in the question, enter your name. This is a short answer, so I don't need the long answer button. We'll get to the long answer later. And I'm going to choose this one to be required, but that's how I make it unrequired. So the next question is then, did you attend today's class? And you can see here, this is a multiple choice question. So in order to that, we go choice. And so, did you attend today's class? Yes and no. And this is the one we want. So it's either yes or no. So there's only one answer. So we don't need multiple answers. And that's how we did that one. Going to delete that. So then the other way. Which of the following do you have access to? Mark all that apply. And I've just put down a load of devices and stuff, and it's a bit extra. But this time, you could have a laptop and a quiet space and the book, and so we don't want single answers, so we want multiple answers. That's the same question. That's the same multiple choice question. So I like this one. This is grade your participation in class, and I'll just show you how to put those in. So this is a rating. So you're rating it. You can, if I put in a rating question, I can change it to 9 stars or more. Not 10 10 stars. I could have numbers if I wanted, just to say anything, so you can kind of grade their expectations, etc., etc., etc. This again, just there's only options as required. Okay, so the grade participation. This is another one which I really like using with juniors. Which I really like using juniors. This is using the same text entry, so it's text, but this time I've just gone for the long answer, and that allows them to put in whatever they want. So they really have a lot more room for that. Get rid of that one. Which this is one of the ones that Google that Microsoft has that Google doesn't have. And if I show you the question, so basically in the when they're answering it, they can rate these. So which do you prefer in order of preference? Place at the top, and it's very good to be explicit here. When I wasn't explicit previously, I was getting different orders, and they were putting them in least favourite, and so on and so forth. So it's just a rearrangement question. I might be able to share that, which is in a moment. And then question 8, I didn't even put a question title on it, but if I just add new, this is over in the far side in the Likert section. So you type a question and you can put down a number of statements, and you can say agree to disagree, and so on and so forth. You've answered those sort of surveys before. I think it's very handy for this. So I've got my second years having a little look at whether they can figure out protons and electrons and stuff, and just trying to figure out where the median is, and seeing it whether I'm hitting the target or not in the class. So I haven't sent this out as of yet. So once you've got your form done, you're ready to share it. Big button here, share. Click on that. So if I want to share it to my team, I'm going to copy it. That will copy it into your clipboard. I'm just going to dump this in any my teams, and I'm just going to go new conversation. Of course I could make it fancy with an announcement or something, but I'm just putting it in there, and boom, it's off, it's gone. So I can also share this as a template, get this a link to duplicate, copy that, and I'll share that with the school team. Alright, but I'll just have a little look at another one which I did send out, which is over here, I think. So this is the physics, 5th year physics check-in. Only 6 responses. There's reasons for that. I must try and block out those names. But it's answers like this that I'm getting. So I'm able to see what they have at home, what they're using. Same happens here. So I can see that most of that everybody's got a room to do written work during the class. They've copying pens and pencils. One missing a book, it's not good. I have a calculator, 2 missing calculators. How much do you like Isaac Physics Questions? So that's an app that we use in physics. Is there any problems? And I got some answers. And I can go and have a look at them here. Now, block out those names in a bit. So I'm seeing that, yes, I have trouble with this. And this is honesty, and I'm never going to get this in a class. Never am I going to get this over. And then you can see other issues with people, and you now you know what to fix, now you know what to address. Okay, so then we checked who had done what. Now we hadn't covered 10-7 at the time, so that's okay. And so I'm looking for questions that they were stuck on. This is 5th years, and so I'm finding there's a few problems, and so we went and did those. We'll have a little look at the Google form. It's pretty much the same thing. If I just go to new questions. So this is an example of this here is an example of those multiple choice questions. So I've got basically listed out all the questions for applied maths that we looked at last week, and basically this says no problem, problem solved, still a problem, can't see the problem, and so they can grade it, and I get to know what they've done. I'm just making this video to share what I've found has been really helpful for me over the last few weeks. If you think you'd find it useful, but don't know where to start, write me a message. get it to me, and I'll gladly give you a dig out. Hope this video helps.